DOJ sues California for enforcing emission standards voided by Trump. I guess leftist places like California don't think they have to follow the law. I mean, look at what they're doing. I mean, they got these sanctuary policies. They're ignoring rules and laws from the federal government. I mean, how are isn't how do they think they can continue to get away with this? But we're gonna talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Epic Times, and they report that the U.S. Department of Justice has filed 2 federal complaints against the California Air Resource Board over the state's enforcement of emission standards voided by the Trump administration, officials said on August 15th. The DOJ said federal law preempts the CARB from enforcing emission rules governing heavy-duty trucks and engines. The department sued after a House of Representatives committee said it recently learned that staff at the California Air Resources Board won't let auto manufacturers bring vehicles to market unless they comply with California's standards. Quote, President Donald Trump and Congress have invalidated the Clean Air Act waivers that were the basis for California's actions. CARB must respect the democratic process and stop enforcing unlawful standards, Acting Assistant Attorney General Adam Gustafson of the DOJ's Environment and Natural Resources Division said in a statement. I mean, they don't care anything about the federal law. But I'm happy that a president is finally holding them accountable. This isn't the first time they ignored federal laws. But California's rules governing light duty vehicles are also preempted, the department added. On August 11th, 4 major truck manufacturers also asked the judge to block California from enforcing emission standards declared void by President Donald Trump in June. The truck companies, Daimler Truck North America, International Motors, PACCAR Inc., and Volvo Group North America claim they are, quote, caught in the crossfire between California's rules and the federal government's laws. The 4 companies control up to 99% of the heavy-duty truck market in the United States, according to the Federal Trade Commission. In the complaint, the truck manufacturers say California was violating a prohibition in the Federal Clean Air Act that bars states from adopting or attempting to enforce any standards relating to the control of emissions from new heavy-duty vehicles and engines without the waiver from the federal government. The truck makers also claim the state has demanded compliance with its emission standards and has threatened heavy-duty truck and engine manufacturers with civil sanctions and unfair regulatory treatment if they don't comply. They're being held hostage. They're being held hostage. And the federal government's rules, the laws, supersede some type of regulation from California. CARB adopted strict rules in 2023 to reduce emissions created by commercial trucks. The state's Advanced Clean Fleet rule called for phasing out medium and heavy-duty combustion trucks by 2036, paving the way for all fleets in the state to be zero emission by 2045. They just come up with these arbitrary numbers. The rule mandates drayage trucks and big rigs to be zero emissions by 2035. We do not have the technology to do that. It's not efficient enough. We are not there yet. We can't dictate something if we don't have the means for it or the technology for it. But during President Joe Biden's term, California received a waiver from the Environmental Protection Agency to allow the state to pass its strict emission rules that exceeded federal laws. Trump signed a package of resolutions in June that, in part, rescinded the EPA waiver granted in December 2023 that allowed the state to enforce its standards. California joined 10 other states in ongoing federal lawsuit filed in June to change the legality of the resolutions. CARB was unable to comment on pending litigation, and an agency spokeswoman told the Epic Times, FTC investigation. Now, in 2023, California entered a clean truck partnership with truck manufacturers that aim to provide the companies with enough lead time to comply with future regulations. As the condition for the relief, CARB required that manufacturers comply with the state's emission standards, despite any litigation over CARB's authority to implement the standards. On August 12th, the Federal Trade Commission ended a probe into the Clean Truck Partnership and whether several trucks and engine manufacturers and a trade association violated antitrust laws. FTC said Daimler, Volvo, PACCAR, and International Motors agreed to act independently and avoid future anti-competitive agreements with CARB. Quote, CARB's regulatory overreach posed a major threat to American truck and, in our view, presented serious American trucking and, in our view, presented serious antitrust concerns. Taylor Hugendorn, deputy director of the FTC Bureau of Competition, said in a statement. The four truck manufacturers recently told the FTC that the Clean Truck Partnership is unenforceable and they had never planned to enforce its terms. Wow. Crazy, crazy stuff. Again, the left keeps lefting. They don't think they have to listen to any type of laws from the federal government. They think they can just come up with their own stuff and regulate you into oblivion. Again, we don't even have the vehicles that have zero emissions like that. It's just it's unsustainable. It's not real. This is arbitrary stuff that they're coming up with to try to feign like they're really doing something for the environment. It's ridiculous. It's really about control. It's more and more of a power grab. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.